booktube, this is Kelly. Thank you so much for watching my channel, Books I'm Not Reading. I am here today to do the Traveling with Books tag. I think I got the name right. And I so wanted you guys to be able to see my suitcase. Oh! So I've had this suitcase for a long time. It has seen many adventures, and I wish I could get it in the camera better, but oh well. I'm also wearing my Montreal shirt. That was the last really big trip that my husband Jason and I went on. That was in 2015. We were going to go to the UK in 2021, and yeah, that didn't happen. So someday I may show up at your door. Maybe I'll have a new suitcase by then. But yeah, so I do really love traveling, and I have been so blessed to travel to just so many incredible places. I'm really lucky. So question number one, what do you read when you travel? Yes, naturally. That's like saying, do I read before I go to bed at night? Yes. So I just, yeah, I try to have a book with me if I'm in a waiting room. You know, I know some people have really long commutes. My commute to work is about 5 minutes long, so it's not really enough time to read. but yeah, I read all the time, and traveling is no different. Okay, I'm gonna kind of tie questions 2 and 3 together. Do you travel with paper books, and do you travel with an e-reader? So someday I'm sure my eyes are gonna my vision's not gonna be quite what I'm able to have with the glasses, and eventually I'm gonna have to get an e-reader. But otherwise, if you can see behind me how many paper books I own, you can understand why I just read paper books regardless of whether I'm traveling or not. It does make it a little more complicated when you're bringing hard copies of things with you on a trip, though. Which leads us to question number 4. How many books do you pack when you travel? So Gina was laughing in her video earlier this year, earlier this summer. I went and stayed with my family to just try to help out. My dad had surgery, and so I was in charge of cats, and you guys got to see crazy clocks and that sort of thing. Now that's just like a very, that's about all the traveling we've done in the last 2 years, is to see our families. So I just wasn't really sure what to expect. I wasn't sure what mood I was gonna be in. And I think I asked you guys for advice, and every book that I proposed was, someone was like, oh, you should read that. So I think I ended up taking like 6 books with me, and I probably finished one. I'd have to look in my book journal. But yeah, so now if you're traveling overseas, then you got to be a little bit more logistic about how many books you bring. And also, if you finish one of those books, is it something you can leave behind? I have definitely left books on airplanes. I know that for sure. I'm not sure if I've ever left a book in a hotel room, but yeah, I'm not afraid to leave a book along the way, along the journey. If it's an old, paperback, or if it's something that I know I'm only gonna read once. Question number 5, does where you go or how long you are traveling impact the amount or type of books that you take? So I do really love to read about, have a book at least take place wherever it is I'm going. So this was quite a while ago. I went to Paris with my sister and my mother. I was in the midst of reading all the Pulitzer Prize novels at the time, so I know I took at least one Pulitzer with me. I feel like it was The Way West. It was an A.B. Guthrie book, I know that. And I have my book journal here, but I just haven't looked at all of it. And then, I took Ernest Hemingway's A Movable Feast, and I also took Muriel Barbery's The Elegance of the Hedgehog, which takes place in Paris. And I really need to read this again because I think maybe I was so distracted by the trip. I had some real problems with jet lag and being able to sleep, which is a problem for my health. And so I just don't really remember this one, but it definitely came all the way back with me. So, Jason and I went with his family to the Caribbean on a cruise. I think, 20, I'm not sure. I'm not sure when, what year it was. Again, I took 3 books. One of them was A Caribbean Mystery by Agatha Christie. My mother-in-law didn't have anything to read, and so I gave it to her. But I also took The Long Song by Andrea Levy. This is an outstanding book. If you're going to the Caribbean, I definitely recommend taking this one with you. Now, it takes place in Jamaica, and we did not go to Jamaica on that trip, but it's still really evoked a lot of some of the things that we saw on the trip, and I don't know, it just seems right to me that you should be reading something that has some kind of connection to the place that you're going. I, for the life of me, cannot remember what I read when Jason and I went to Montreal. But Jason was reading Last Night in Montreal by Emily St. John Mandel, and I haven't read this, but I loved Montreal. I thought it was just an amazing city, and I definitely had books with me. Probably maybe like two books. I feel like one of them might have been The Bourne Identity, which the book has nothing to do with the movie. So it's a very different experience. So if that's the book that I read when we went to Montreal, I'm sure I left it somewhere. So let's see. Question number 6. Do you buy books when traveling or visit bookshops and libraries? Yes. Yeah. I mean, I've been to the British Library. I think that's maybe the only time I've gone to a library on a trip. But as far as like bookstores, yes. So when Jason and I were in Montreal, he had looked up and found like an independent bookstore, and we wandered. It wasn't far from our hotel, and we wandered over there. And I don't even know if they were open. It was just weird. The windows were weird. It seemed very strange. Anyway, but then I spotted off in the distance Indigo, which I knew. I was like, I'm pretty sure that's our answer right there. God, 2 stories of books in French and English. We bought a whole bunch of Alice Munro short story collections while we were there at Indigo. And I mean, Jason probably would have gone to Indigo every day if I'd let him, but I didn't. So we had so much fun browsing there. That was great. On the trip that I spoke of earlier, that to Paris with my sister and my mom, we went to Shakespeare and Company, and I bought Generation A by Douglas Coupland for Jason, and it does have, I don't know if you can see, the infamous stamp from Shakespeare and Company inside, which is very cool. I don't think I bought myself anything on that trip book-wise. I don't think I bought anything for myself at Shakespeare and Company, so that's a little unusual, but yeah, so I mean, lots of times Jason talks about places that he wants to visit, but all he wants to do is basically like read and drink coffee while we're in that place. And I'm like, okay, we can do that here. We don't have to travel off. Of course, that was before we found BookTube, and now there's all these booktubers that we would really love to meet. I mean, not just people who have channels, but commenters that we'd love to meet them in person and spend time with them. And yeah, so I think that was kind of part of the plan for the 2021 trip to the UK, was going to be mapping out, seeing our favorite booktubers, as well as some literary places. I haven't been to the Dickens Museum in London, which Jason has, and Jason has never been to Bath, so he hasn't seen some of the wonderful Jane Austen things in Bath. And so yeah, I definitely think those were going to be part of the itinerary for that trip, but alas, it did not happen. And I just don't know. I don't know when we will feel comfortable doing international travel again. I am really, really glad that we did this trip to Montreal, and we had so much fun. We saw almost all of our favorite tennis players. Roger Federer wasn't there, which was very disappointing, but it was, I mean, it was just incredible to be in the same city when the tournament was going on. We had 3-day tickets, and so those days, we were able to take a shuttle from the hotel straight to the tennis tournaments, which was fantastic because we never would have found them on our own. And like, then when we would come back from that, we didn't have any night match tickets. So yeah, we'd watch tennis on TV, and again, we'd read, we'd go in the morning, we'd go, underground Montreal, which is incredible, and go to Second Cup cafe and drink coffee and have croissants filled with chocolate, and it was wonderful. We just had, it was a very relaxing trip in a lot of ways, aside from the getting there and getting home, but yeah, it was great. I'm so glad that we did that. And like I said, fortunately we didn't find Indigo until partway into the week, or we may not have seen anything else of Montreal. But all right, and finally, 7, tag some travelers. All right, so I'm gonna tag Poetic Artifacts, Hey Y'all Listen Up, Yard of Random Books, The Grim Reader, Lex Reads, Ursula's Odds and Sods, Jim's Books, Reading, and Stuff. And because she had a recent trip of her own, I'm going to tag Marilyn Maya Mendoza, who went to Paris earlier this year and made us all, or at least made me jealous with her video footage. So it was great to see. Thanks, Marilyn, for sharing that with all of us. If you'd like to do this tag, please feel free. BookTube, I look forward to hearing about your reading, traveling experiences in the comment section down below. Please remember to be kind to yourself and be kind to others, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.